Wyatt Williamson getting everything lined up on the Possum Holler Express. Green light on the sled. The green flag on the track. Here comes the young man, the Possum Holler Express out of Chanute, Kansas. Oh, White doing a good job with it. Doing a fine job of it.
We're going to start the show shortly, guys. I like to open up with some videos.
White goes 320.87, 320.87. Not quite enough to put him in the lead. Puts him in number 2. You've seen it right off the line there. The tractor kicked to the left. He had to hit that right brake and line it back out. That may have been the difference right there. That may have cost him the 6 feet he needed. But still a fine run for Mr. Wyatt Williamson. The Possum Holler Express. He's got his helmet off. Give that young man a round of applause right there, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there was a sign of life, but trying to see what's going on with Captain Hook here. Oh, Captain Hook going to make the call here. Derek Sarton out of Stark City, Missouri, calls the tractor Captain Hook 2. Supercharged. Another different combination here. Big block Chevrolet with twin turbo. Different all the way down the track.
Hey, Russ, how are you? Pierce, Nebraska's checking in.
After this tractor, we're going to do a short break. Take our quick intermission, get the track switched over.
Chuck Hobbs checking in from Harmon.
Going to have about 15 minutes total.
Jerome, you watch the show
until we're back to pulling.
Last name Kursdina from St. Louis, Nebraska. Is there some? Where is St. Louis, Nebraska at? First outlaw poll of the year, guys. Monet, Missouri. I think it's Monette, maybe. I'll ask Ron when he gets on. June 2nd and 3rd. This is Captain Hook.
Captain Hook, too, getting the chain tightened up and ready to go.
Brandon, we're live, so behave. Is it Monette, Missouri, or Monet, Missouri? How do you say that?
Okay. Here we go, the twin turbocharged Chevrolet. Oh, boy. He's hopping and he's popping, but he showed no signs of stopping. 319 and 74 for the Captain Hook. 319 and
Holcomb, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We're live, so behave. I want you to know that. So
no, I had to turn my volume up because it was muted, but I'm getting it figured out.
I just always open up the show before Ron gets on with some videos. This is from Mountain City, Missouri. You keep promoting outlawpulling.tv. And then the first poll of the year Is it Monet, Missouri, or is it Monette, Missouri? Do you know?
Monette, Missouri, I believe is what we all call it anyway.
So I made a Facebook reel today, and I said Monet, and I tried to be all French, like Monet.
I liked it. I thought it was better than Monette. So
yeah, I mean, I will. What I'm going to do is when we're down there, I'm going to swing into the city hall and say, hey, can I just, can I call it Monet, Missouri, kind of a thing, have a little fun with it. So. John Comstock says you better discuss HE and N2O tonight with Brandon Holcomb. What's NE? Is that what's HE? Is that helium?
We've been giving some of the pro mod pickup guys heck about putting helium in their tires and that they're all running nitrous. It's been a long running Facebook gig with most of them.
So when I see you and like going back with like old Charlie Miller and all those knuckleheads,
Claypool and all those guys, good group of guys keeps the winter blues down that way.
Yeah. Oh crap, Ron's on. I got to be professional now. So
are we live already?
Of course we are. We're sharing videos from Mountain City, Kansas. I like to open up the show. Excuse me, guys. Open up the show with some video here, and then Brandon came on and. Ron, I want to officially announce that we're going to change it from Monette, Missouri to Monet. I think Monet will be better with marketing.
I caught that. I'm not sure if they'll go for that.
But you're kind of a big deal, Ron. If you could call them on behalf of the Outlaws, we think it'll do better for marketing. So
I'll put that call into the Monette Chamber of Commerce tomorrow. See if they can.
It's Monet, Ron. It's Monet.
Oh, got you.
I mean, if you're not going to be on my side, just tell me now.
All right. I'm fully on board. I see Jerry Setter is already. I figured Jerry would be tuning in tonight, Brandon.
When him and some of the few others chime in, you just never know what it's going to be. So I'm trying to prepare myself.
I invited them. I encouraged them to be themselves tonight earlier with my Facebook.
That's not good. That'll get us kicked off the air.
So real quick, Ron, how did that work again? Titan donated, and then the Outlaws donated, or how did that work again with the FFAs this summer?
The Outlaws Young Guns put up $500 and for each, and the Titan tire maker, Goodyear Farm Tires, actually matched that amount to send $1,000 to each state's FFA program that where we pulled. So Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa. All those states received $1,000 check from Outlaws and the Young Guns and Titan Tire.
Have you heard? Has that been kicked around yet? Have you heard anything like that?
If they're going to do something like that this year, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about it. It's possible we may be doing something again. I'm not sure. Obviously we just had Case and Petch on. He's one of the chairpersons for the Young Guns, and we should have asked him that when we had him on deck on it.
Yep. Really, really proud what we're doing with the Young Guns guys and Titan Tire.
T-shirt. Go out here, get you something to eat.
Been phenomenal.
Take a pause for the calls, whatever you need.
Of course, this is a hometown pull of Paddocks, who they have 2 4.1 limited pros. They're awesome people. Here's the I'm going to share our opening video, and then I'll actually introduce the show. But here's the Outlaw Young Guns, and we're all on a chat with Dave and Ron and all the Young Guns. I've been asking them to send me videos, Brandon, and this is what they did send me 3 more. I've been doing my real job for a couple days. I'll work on that later tonight. But here's what I got so far. Just a couple of sent in. But the goal is to have all of them. I think this will be kind of cool, guys, when it's done.
Hi, I'm Taryn Beck, and I'm an Outlaw Young Gun.
I'm Kason Petch, and I'm an Outlaw Young Gun.
Hi, my name is Jamie Yankee, and I'm proud to be an Outlaw Young Gun.
My name is Sydney Summers, and I'm an Outlaw Young Gun.
Now, I know Ron doesn't like my music and Dave Nelson, but I need to get some licenses, Brandon, because every time we do stuff, I get in trouble. So, and Ron's like, oh, Jason, I got these licenses. We won't get in trouble anymore. And I get in trouble all the time.
It's crazy because I actually pay for those subscriptions. So these Facebook, and some of them aren't so particular, but some are real particular, and you have to show these, and you have to show them over and over because some of this license work, actually, they may have several different companies representing them. You'll have one company hit you, and then another one will hit you for the same song or the same tune. So you're constantly having to show this license, and it's a pain in the behind, honestly. But
well, I'm gonna play our video, and then we'll start the show officially, guys. So thanks for hanging out with us. Let us know where you're watching from tonight. Please type in the comments. On a scale of rank us by our looks. I just type in the comments. If Ron's the prettiest, put Ron 1.
wait a minute, I had to take my hat off then.
If Brandon's second prettiest, put Brandon 2 and me 3rd. I know my role. As you can see, I am the co-host of Outlawed Live. Please put that in the comments. We want to have some fun tonight. Serious tech stuff is always serious, but Brandon we make it fun, and Brandon's always.
Jason, you've always wanted to run your fingers through my hair. Admit it.
I'm not drinking Tito's tonight, Ron, but I could shortly here.
Live with myself, Ron Stone, my co-host Jason Schultz, and tonight's special guest, the tech guy, the competition director. That's your title, isn't it, Brandon?
I've got several titles, I'm afraid, but yeah, competition director. I do a lot of the Missouri shows and a few of the Southern Iowa shows, and then executive director of the tech department. Kind of help Ryan out with some of the rules and getting a little bit extra tech staff and things like that. So like all of us, we wear a lot of hats, but we're a good family and we're getting along pretty good here. And as you can see in those videos, we've got some awesome things going on and more awesome things coming.
So Brandon Holcomb with the Outlaws competition director on hand tonight to answer all your questions you've ever wanted to ask about tech. Yeah, we're going to put you on the spot here.
We might have to phone a friend or something here in a little bit.
Special 3-hour edition tonight, Brandon. Just forgot to tell you that earlier. No, I'm kidding.
Awesome.
We'll keep the show.
Hey, Brandon, see when Ron gets lippy, I can just do that because
how can we do that during a show, Jason? Is there any way
we can? It's like, Ron must have bad internet. I don't know what happened. And then I'm like, oh, look, Ron's got better internet again.
He's back. So, we got to quit talking about him now.
Actually, I just stepped on it a little bit because I just gave Ron control of the show too.
Yeah. Oh, what happened there? What happened, Brandon? What happened?
Hey, this is actually Jason. Do you remember the time the batteries disappeared out of the mic at Gordyville? We actually shut Jason off for a short time.
Yeah. So I will. I think the statute of limitations have wore off on that, Ron. But if you don't mind, can I tell that story real quick, Brandon?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ron, do you care?
No, go ahead.
So it involves drinking a lot, and there's Gordyville Special. It's like this winter pool. It's in a horse barn in the middle of Illinois, and Saturday there's this little bar that's connected, Ron. And between sessions on Saturday afternoon, I went over there and we got into this competition of doing fireball shots. And I'm like, when you've drank with me, Ron, it's all or nothing, right? So I did about 15 shots of fireball and thinking, I feel good. And I started drinking a bunch of water, and I went back over to announce Saturday night, and they, Amy Jo Estes and them and Clint, took the batteries out of the wireless mic and then told me we were out of batteries and I need to go find batteries because, I actually did start announcing a little bit, and then they realized I probably shouldn't be announcing. And I went out on the track and tried to interview somebody and almost fell off the pro stock. So this is years ago. I still haven't lived it down because Kevin Schmucker said something to me at Louisville. He's like, wow, Jason, you've came a long ways from that drunk announcer guy at Gordyville. And I'm like, well, yeah, And a couple other guys haven't forgiven me. That's a good like 15 years ago now, but it's still fun. It's still fun. Good
Things
stories.
don't go away in this sport. They seem to stick around.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't drink and announce anymore. It does not work for Jason.
Not a good combo.
But real quick, that's the first time I ever got announced with Butch Krieger, and I was so scared because I'm like, this is freaking Butch Krieger. He gets up there, he looks up and he goes, "They tell me you're fun," and I didn't. I kind of went, okay. He's like, "Where's the shine?" And I said, "I got it right here." And we started drinking shine. So Butch Krieger and I got to drink with Butchie, and that was I thought
nice.
That was cool. But as an Outlaw announcer, I've never ever had a drink at an Outlaw show because I learned from those earlier years. I really did. So because people, you think you're okay, but you're not. You know, you're not. So anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to Brandon Holcomb.
Brandon Holcomb. Brandon, what's new with the Outlaws this year? What that you're going to be policing or what's coming up? Just give us the skinny.
Well, you know, it's been somewhat of a quiet winter. The rules meetings, you know, they weren't any big earth-shattering changes or anything like that. I just kind of jotted down a few of them here because as I'm getting older here, my memory is not quite as good as it used to be. But light limited pro stock class, the 466 class, we did go ahead and allow them to run recast heads this year, but not for points. They can run for purse money, but no points money this year or anything like that. We did a little name changing on a couple classes. What has been kind of the national class of light super stocks, I guess you could say, out east. We always called the unlimited supers around here. Well, with the footprint that we're starting to make in the pulling world, you know, further and further away every year, we had some guys getting confused. You know, we had light super guys calling and saying, "Hey, do I have to weigh 8,000 pounds or 8,200 pounds, you know, whatever." So we decided this year to take the unlimited super class and call it a light super class. And because the rules line up with, you know, everybody else's light super classes from pretty well coast to coast. The light super class that we had that had the ag chassis rear ends, we still call those light super stock, but it'll be the ag chassis class. So a little bit of change there, and that's going to be confusing for Ron for a while to remember all that.
It's not confusing for me. I'm not a fan of that. I'll be honest with you, but
something happened to Ron, Brandon.
We shut him off.
He's back. I thought we lost you, Ron. I thought we lost you.
No, it's more confusing for promoters and things like that and some of the fans than it is. I mean, you know, I know it's light super stock ag and light super stock, but honestly, if I put my marketing hat on, I still like unlimited light super myself.
You know what, Ron? I'm sorry. I'm sorry you lost internet there for a few seconds. I'd like to retract that. I never thought of it from like your point of view, sitting down with promoters. You know what I mean? So, because
they still get a little confused by it. And they're like, "Now what?" You know, and they still ask for the unlimited class, and I know what they're asking for. I know what they're asking for when they ask for the light super stock. But it is a little confusing to them. And
do they ever just say, "I want that class that Ulmer wins every time"?
The one Ulmer's in, yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah,
you want all of them.
No, I'd say they do get that. Yeah, whatever that class is that Ulmer's in. You know.
Brandon, I'd like to make the first agenda item for next year's rules meeting.
I'll make a note right now.
Okay, please get it. Can you show me your pen? Because I want to know how serious you are.
I've got a Sharpie, but that's all I can reach.
I want just the Ulmer open class. All the Ulmers in one class, and then you get together with your people and like figure out how much the mod should weigh versus the super versus the mini rod versus. Seriously, I think that would. Ron, you could sell that class, Stone.
The Ulmer Mafia shootout,
dude. I tell you, we need something kind of a gimmicky kind of thing that could be fun.
That might make the Ulmer Christmas a little interesting when they all sit down at dinner at the end of the year, though.
Oh, I love it.
All right, and the question everybody really wants to know, Brandon, is Eric Claypool running nitrous oxide?
We decided to let him. He struggled so much the last few years, and we told him where to put it at Louisville. And if you notice, he put it in Joe's tire, and he's still learning. He's kind of a slow learner, I think, but we'll get him there. Charlie Miller's been coaching him some, so I think we'll get him there eventually, so he knows to put it in the bottles and not the tires.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. That makes sense now. Yeah. So I know a lot of people ask this question, and I've heard this question. I've passed it off to you a few times over the off season. Is the clutch can SFI certification? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, starting in 2024, so it doesn't actually go into effect to 24, but I am going to say probably get on it now because I know a lot of the clutch can manufacturers are going to be behind on all this. But anyway, in 2024, insurance is going to require all clutch cans to have the expiration date on them, and that will be at the manufacturer's discretion. So if somebody certifies their can for 2 years, you got to have it certified every 2 years. If it's if it's only got a 1 year date on it, it's only good for a year. But those dates have to be up and be non-expired, and that will be in every class that has a clutch can. I'm going to think, with the way things are going with all this safety things, we're going to see a lot more of this coming down the pipe. And maybe some other organizations too. So that's why I say, get ahead of the game, get them certified now. If yours is up this year, if you've got it off right now and think you've got time, get it sent off and get it back, maybe good for 2 or 3 years. So I think there's going to be a big rush of them probably in about November, December of this fall.
I bet. Yeah, I asked that question because I know some people were kind of panicking thinking it was going into effect this year.
Sure.
So to get that out there. But I mean, is that something that you've noticed in your years being in a sport, the insurance companies getting more and more involved?
They are every year. They are. They're watching us closer and closer, and that's why we harp on guys so much about get your gloves on, get your neck brace on. It's not that we're out to get you, but we're being watched too. And we've all got to get along, and it's not just the Outlaws. It's not just any one organization. We're all being watched right now, and we've got to work together to keep this safety standard up to where it needs to be and maybe even exceed it. So we set a good footprint that we're out here trying to get ahead of the game.
You ever, I know I've been around the sport for quite a few years, and I've been a promoter, still am a promoter. I started an organization in Kansas, and a smaller organization, but do you cringe sometimes when you see some events, say maybe on Facebook or something, and you see a definite safety issue where the crowd's too close? Do you get that? You see that and say,
"Oh yeah," and usually I start getting text messages and phone calls. Hey, did you see this video? Or did you see this video? I was like, yeah, I did, and I'm really glad there's not an Outlaw logo on some of that stuff like that. I mean and it's up to all of us as tech guys because it's not always the puller. You get nervous, you get on your tractor, you get out there, you forget your neck collar. Just walk up there and tell him, hey, get it on, just kind of signal and they'll put it on 100% of the time. It's not that anybody's trying to, get above this or anything like that. It's just we haven't been maybe real pushy in this area in the past. And now we're going to have to be more and more as time goes on.
That's something that people need to realize too, is when there's an accident somewhere and somebody gets hurt or something, that affects all of us, all of us pullers and organizations that have the insurance, because all those insurance companies look at that. It affects all of us when there's an accident like that. But
and insurance is one big thing. Well, the other big thing is too, I mean, the number one thing is we want nobody hurt. We want no competitors, no staff, no fans. And, every year we're finding more horsepower and we're finding better tires to hook to the track. And we're finding weak spots in drive lines and things like that we never knew existed. And all of that, it's a burr in your butt because you've got to fix your tractor, but where did that part go that flew off of it? Who did it hit, or who did it potentially have hit, or something like that? So we've got to be watching all angles.
Yeah, that you mentioning that was Gordyville last year when the New Holland tractor chucked the motor out from between the frame rails there. I mean, that's one of those that we kind of dodged a bullet on, but all the organizations were on point and addressed that immediately. What all was done after that accident happened? No one was hurt in that accident, but what all was done as far as the cable rules after that accident happened?
Well, we immediately and Larry Richwine kind of headed it off, and then I talked to John Mears about it, and so we all three took it at the same time. But we made him start running either 2 cables with 4 clamps apiece, or the new rated cable that's got a tag on it and everything. So we had that within days. That rule was in effect because we knew there was an issue out there and it needed to be addressed immediately.
Now, did you see any of the highlights from, not to single out a pull, because this could happen anywhere, the highlights from this past weekend at, say, the pull in Pennsylvania?
Yep.
Did you see the front tire pop off of that tractor and just about go over the barrier?
I did.
So what are your thoughts on, I mean, we talk about it every once in a while, tethers and things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think at some point in time, it's going to be like the clutch can. I think we're going to be forced to go to some kind of a tethering system on the wheels like that, because it seems like that comes and goes in twos and threes. You'll see it happen 2 or 3 times. Everybody starts talking about it, and then for a while it's quiet, and then it kind of just goes away. But I think it's going to probably show up one of these days and stay until we do something about it. I know some of the other motorsports are already using things like that. So I could see it coming down the pipeline, probably in the near future. I'm going to say next year or two, probably, or possibly anyway.
I have to admit, that's one of the things I think about probably more than anything else these days. And with some of the wheel speeds that we're starting to turn, and not talking about the front tires on a tractor, but the rear tires, because an object in motion will remain in motion, and that's something I think down the road, I think definitely we're going to look at. Sure.
And I think I'm back to, the videos from the last weekend or two, there was an engine block crack, actually a couple engine blocks crack over the weekend. And I noticed that, with the new cabling system and everything, we didn't have the catastrophic scattering on the track that we'd had in the past. So it just goes to show that, what we're all doing to work together is pointing everything in the right direction.
Yeah, I think Jason's showing that. With that tire come off there.
Yeah.
And somebody else had posted a video, and you could see it just bounce off the top edge of the barrier there, and it bounced back on the track. But there was a few people that was starting to get out of the way, but some of the others were just kind of sitting there hanging out. But
we had one come off one time. We were up in Iowa. It's been years ago, and it didn't head toward anybody, but it headed right toward Rodney Crum, and Rodney stepped out of the road, and it landed right on top of his computer that he was doing results on. So he had to go back to the van and find another computer because it just demolished it, which we laugh about it now. It could have been a lot worse, and we were worried at the time, but it was just ironic where it exactly landed.
Yeah, there was at Lufkin last season, Lufkin, Texas, there's that video of that a little bit scary there. You see a couple people were getting ready to take off. But down at Lufkin, two-wheel drive, Dustin Corliss's two-wheel drive lost a front tire. It came down pretty hard. It wasn't moving really fast, but still that object is in motion. And there was a few people down by the production trailer off to the side, and they were sitting in those canvas chairs, and they weren't jumping up right away. And I happened to be there, and I was like, get up, get up, get up. And it kind of went through there like a bowling ball hitting the pins, in those chairs, those empty chairs. But it wasn't moving real fast, but still, ones when they are moving pretty good clip, they could definitely hurt somebody.
Yeah, the weight that they are, I mean, they're not that heavy, but when they're coming at you at your chest at 20 mile an hour, they're definitely going to feel heavy if they make contact. So,
yeah, there's another view. Oh, that's just a fan view there. Whew. Yeah, that wouldn't be like catching a baseball at a baseball game. I think you can grab one of those.
And dampener pulleys on these engines aren't much different than that either. I've been on some guys that saying, hey, let's try to get this tightened up a little bit in here, and everybody's like, I've had guys say, well, that's not going to come off. Well, I beg to differ. I've actually had 2 of them come off in the past, and one of them on a diesel pickup one time, and it went past me. I was flagging. It went past me up to the guardrail. We had concrete guardrails, and that thing spun up the banner and actually put a black mark in the banner to the very top, and then lost momentum and fell down. But if we hadn't had the banner there, that very easily could have been in somebody's lap or something like that. So that's why I preach pretty hard on the dampener pulley guards and everything too.
Yeah, that won't happen. Those guys, I mean, yeah, it definitely can happen, and it does happen. So, but Brandon, let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, how did you get into pulling? What year was that? And how did you get to
actually, I was going through a box of stuff. I don't know, it's been quite a while back, and I actually found the first trophy that I'd ever won tractor pulling, and I would have been exactly 10 years old when I pulled my first tractor. It was a B John Deere, and we was pulling some antique and classic around home. Kind of what got me, I guess, into that, into the tractor side of it. Of course, I I was born and raised on a farm, and my dad had a diesel repair shop. I worked on tractors and everything, and that's where I was my daycare. I never, as far as I know, my parents never paid a babysitter the whole time of my life. I grew up in Dad's shop, and I had a little cot underneath the counter up front, and that's where I took my naps and everything at. So I've just been around this forever, and I guess I don't know any better. And I always liked the horsepower part of it. Is Dad had turned a tractor up or put a bigger turbo on it for somebody, and that was just always a fascinating thing for me. So that led into, I guess where I'm at today. I've had a few tractors. My brother and I bought a heavy non-turbo tractor when I was still in high school at that time. And we ran it for a few years, and then I had 2 or 3 turbo tractors, nothing big or anything. I had a couple of hot farms or pro farms for around here, but kind of got away from that and got into helping do some tech and promoting pulls and things like that. And actually for me, that had more interest to me than driving one down the track and trying to keep the dang thing going. So I ran some local organizations off and on for several years and did some things for them. And then 2015, I guess, is when I started helping, PPL quite a bit, and made a lot of friends doing that. Made a lot of connections. Got to see a lot of places. Did a lot of shows in Missouri, but went as far as New York and things like that too. So still have the utmost respect for John and Christy and everybody involved. I still consider them great friends, and we talk quite often about different things. My businesses were growing closer to home, and I just couldn't be away any longer. So I had to do something that put me a little bit closer to home. And I, between PPL and Outlaw, I was out of it for about a year and a half, and I really, really started missing it. So I, took the position, and it's fit me really well. And we've got a lot of great people on staff. So I don't feel like I have to work real hard because we're surrounded by so many good people.
Yeah, you're pretty well respected. I mean, throughout the Midwest. I mean, all the pullers, really like you, and you're respected by them. So, I mean, it's great to have you in that role where you're at. With all having the respect that you have from all the pullers. So, and we just had a message on here. Can you see the messages, Brandon?
Yep, I can see that one. Yep.
Okay, Mark Ham's asking about the semi class. I was going to mention that tonight. I appreciate you putting in the work on the rules for that class. For this year, for this upcoming season, but I don't know if I've seen the rules for the old semi class. Have you seen the rules for the prior semi class?
No, and when you and I, worked on that and talked to some guys about it, it was really hard to find a set of rules that, weren't a pro stock or a super stock semi class. But, we had some people showing interest in more of I don't want to call it a street stock because these are going to be 12 to 1,500 horse semis. But for 23, our rules are probably not going to be set in stone. We've got a group of guys that, want to try this, want to see what we can do. So we're going to try some different turbo combinations. We're going to try some different hitch height and things like that for 23, kind of get a feel for it and see what we can do. And then we're going to sit down this fall when we go to the rules meetings and we'll have a little, clean them up a little bit, have a firmer set of rules going into the future with it.
Yeah, of course. You're speaking to hitch heights, differences in hitch heights, and you're talking about running different power adders like water injection or air over water intercoolers, things like that, and that's where we would adjust the hitch height. But I know we went back and forth, and you kept submitting rules to the insurance folks and things like that to get them approved, and it's quite the process actually, to get it done. But I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback, getting a lot of semi-pullers messaging me from around the Midwest that want to get involved. So, and for those of you that don't know what it is, I'm not sure what the old rule for the Outlaws was. I think the turbo size was probably a little bigger. But nobody really had a turbo in the Midwest, I should say, a limited pro stock style that put a limitation on the turbo. NTPA has a pro stock, but there's no limit on the turbocharger.
Right.
We wanted to put a limit on that because there was some guys around that were racing and doing some pulling, running 4.1 chargers and some running a 4.5 charger. So if I remember right, we set the limit at 4.6. Was that?
Yeah. 4.6 on that. And it's slotted or smooth, either one. That's just one of the things we're going to kind of play with this year to see how everything works out. And I think the group of guys we've got that are wanting to do this year, they want it, and they understand that, we're probably going to have to change some things maybe as the season goes on, or take hitch height away from somebody we didn't or something like that. But it's going to give us a feel. It's going to be a good experiment for us this year, I think.
Yeah, it'd be a nice addition, I think. A little more variety to add to some of the shows. Rock Valley, Iowa just picked up the semi-class for their show. So actually have 6, and I'm talking to a couple more events about adding them as well. I think Platte City, Missouri may add them, and Montgomery City's thinking about it. So could have 8 hooks for that class to come out in their first season. But what's some of your greatest memories in pulling, Brandon? Stuff that you can
oh man, there's been a lot of them. I mean, I think the main thing is for me, and why I missed it so much, is just the friendship and the family aspect of it. I mean, just I couldn't make it to Louisville this year, so a bunch of us got together, and pullers from both sides and everything, and we just had a good weekend with it. And it's things like that you'll never get rid of, whether you're still in the sport or not. And that's what I love about this young gun thing, bringing those kids in here so they can share that same thing. And, we've got a lot of legends still pulling with us. And I think it's awesome for these kids to be able to come in here and pull and learn from those legends like that, because none of us are getting younger in this sport, and we've got to have those young ones come in like that. So, I never thought in a million years that I would be friends with, guys like Kevin Masterson and Dennis and Brian Traumick and Esden Lane and things like that. I watched all those guys when I was a kid, and
Jason Schultz,
fascinated by him. Yeah, that is a very, very, very good thing. And one of these days I'm going to get his autograph, like tattooed on my body permanently.
Well, I'm kind of a big deal, Brandon. I stay pretty humble.
There's no kind of about it, really.
But I like to, I'll step it up when I need to, Brandon. I'll step it up when I need to.
Wait a minute. Let me throw this up there. Oh, just show that there.
Oh. I know my role.
Jason, I think that's Ron's other Facebook account name, actually.
I do.
Oh, hang on a second.
You can, I used to have 2 Jason Schultzes and I got in trouble during the election because they stopped you at 5,000 friends. I thought, well, hell, I'm just going to set up another Jason Schultz. Well, then during the elections, that's when all the fraud or whatever was supposed to be going on, and they were buying the ads, and they accused me of doing that. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to promote truck and tractor pulling. So everybody's like, why'd you unfriend me on Facebook? I'm like, because I had to. So that's now they have followers, so it's all good. Yeah, not one pretty face on that hurts, Ron. That hurts.
That's one of our super fans. That's Russ.
No, he is the super fan. Okay, Brandon, this is something, and Ron and I have been kicking this around. We've been having fun with the Ulmer Mafia, and I think the Medine Militia, that really didn't stick like the Ulmer Mafia did. But we have the young guns. I want a term, or Ron and I want a term for the fans. They're not groupies because that's rock stars and cocaine, and I don't think Kurt would go for that. But what do the Outlaw Nation? I want to have something so we can kind of rally that from a marketing standpoint. So when Ron grabs the mic, hello Outlaw. I don't. What's the word? I don't know. I need to maybe.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. There's a lot of words we could use that may not be exactly what we need to be saying. So kind of like a goofy thing. So we gotta keep it clean.
I want to get decals made, and I think people wear T-shirts. I really think it could be something, like a fandom. Like you're a fan of the Green Bay Packers or the Kansas City Chiefs or something like that. I'm an Outlaw truck and tractor pulling fan. Something to represent. Ron and I, we've been kicking it around. I've been wanting to ask. Jason is full of number 2. I love you, Jer.
The Outlaw Nation thing, I've used that loosely a few times, on some of the Facebook posts.
I think we can, Ron. But I'd like to have the people kind of pick it. The people pick it, if you know what I'm saying. What we want to call them. Hey, where Holcomb, where Workman's tractor went. Is it staying 5.0 or is it going up?
I don't know 100%. I seen the engine for sale the other day already, so I'm assuming it's going to have a bigger turbo on it and everything.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Dusty and Courtney Berry has a suggestion. The Outlaw Kingdom.
That's got a little David Koresh in it. I'm a little scared of that. Waco, still some bad memories. So on the National Guard had to come in.
You know, the Chiefs use that in Kansas City. The Chiefs Kingdom, they use that. But,
okay. Well, I don't want to copy that.
Russell Dossel, Outlaw Rebel.
I like Outlaw Nation, but I think that's too general. But maybe not. I don't know. Russell's saying Nation.
Russell likes Outlaw Nation. Yeah.
What's another word for groupie that's not naughty? Let me run a chat GPT search here.
Ask Jerry Cedric.
Didn't they call them roadies when they used to chase all the concerts up and down the road and everything?
Yeah, those are groupies. Groupies, yeah. That's I think roadies were the ones that actually helped set things up and tear things down.
That would be us. Then that would be Will Mons and guys like Will.
Well, I'm a roadie too, then.
Yeah, you definitely are, Ron.
You are. Enthusiast, fan, admirer, junkie, aficionado, supporter, follower, devotee. Those are some of the words on the online here. Thesaurus. Companions, company.
I don't think Outlaw Companions probably fits very well.
No, companions. We're not companions. Oh, shoot. Anyway, Outlaw fam. Somebody think of something and message Ron or I. Posse. Tim Skelton says Outlaw Posse. Now, the Outlaw thing I like the posse a little bit. Something to do with when you think of an outlaw, you think of out west and the cowboys, and it'd be kind of fun to have a mascot sort of a thing with that. So these are ideas Ron and I just been kicking around, but we have a lot of loyal people that watch the show every Tuesday night, and it's kind of fun to hear what they're thinking too. So
here we go. This one's for Brandon.
I think that's more for Jason.
I went for it. Somebody said I was too fat to reach into it, which is not true. I could reach it. I went for the air instead of the fuel. I should have went for fuel and air. But you guys, I slowed that down and I counted that in real time. That was 3.5 seconds. So, I mean, from the time I started, I pulled the throttle back and I counted, because in my mind, I mean, that was just going to go. It was in the pump, Brandon, when Tony tore it down, the governor that regulates it just stuck wide open.
Right. Well, I mean, no, between your reaction time and, even pulling your dump valve and things like that, I mean, you're still going to have some run time there and everything. It's just, for 3.5 to 4 seconds, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
A lot of damage can happen in 3.5 or 4 seconds too.
Yeah. All of it happened, actually, the whole thing. So it's all junk. But no, I like Tom's question. And like today, I don't know if you guys saw that, but those guys sent me the video from the Showstopper, John Deere out at Keystone. And I had made a video. They had test pass guys, set it in the sand. They reweighted the sled, and then it just puked everything out the bottom of it. And then they actually sent me a video of what the damage was, and they got the crank and everything. But there was a ton of blow-by coming out of that tractor on its first pass. But stuff just gives up, you guys. I mean, it just does. You know what I mean? So I talked to Tony, Brandon, my engine builder, and he thought he just wanted me to go for fuel instead of air. Like he wanted, and I reached for the wrong valve, the wrong levers first. I went for the dash instead of the ones right next to me, so that had been the only thing that I maybe could have done differently. But I'm not you guys know I'm not exactly like the best driver ever or anything like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, you got a lot of things going on in a real short period of time there, so the guy doesn't really have time to think about it.
And I've had my pump run backwards before. I took it down to Mettings, like an 18. And I've had the turbo shaft just break, like just snap in half, like at 100 feet before. And then the guillotine shuts and all that goes through the motor. But that was my first catastrophic one. I hope it's my last. So, and not because I quit pulling, but because so.
Well, you're increasing your chances of catastrophic engine failures by the class that you're going to go into. You know this, right?
But no, my singer promised me that mine will not blow up. So.
Did he give is he giving a full warranty then?
No, he said I have the My Singer taillight guarantee, he said. So.
I was going to say he might get a lot of business out there.
my tractor is going to follow his into the trailer and it's going to go home. So the taillight's going to follow it. So it's all good. So
that sounds more like a biker gang, Russell.
The disciples.
The Outlaw Disciples.
The sideliners. Brandon, that's one thing I wanted to ask you tonight was, there's the big three. There's the PPL, the NTPA, and then of course the Outlaws. But the amount of talking that you guys do behind the scenes and really do daily, and to see kind of everybody working together at Louisville. Marvin Epperson, the new NTPA director, was out there, and he was in Broadbent with John. You know what I mean? And Dave Nelson was in there, so you had all three of them kind of represent. But I do know you guys talk a lot. I really want the pullers. I really want the fans to know that, Brandon. That it's not like it's just, well, this is the Outlaw organization. This is what we do. Screw everybody else, because it's not like that. All you guys truly. There are some classes that have, for the lack of better terminology, pigeonholed themselves. Like an Outlaw Super Farm can't go anywhere else and run Super Farm with the current setup. When I wasn't involved with the Outlaws, I really questioned that. I really did, because I'd sit there and read pull off and see all that stuff. But when you look at some of the foresight of what the 5.0 class has done, right, Brandon and Ron, now that's going to be a nationwide class. The mods, the Outlaw mods are the coolest thing going, because you see a lot of comments on question. And don't get me wrong, I love Brett Berg and 12,000 horse and Chuck Knapp with screwed rollers. That is like Top Fuel dragster type stuff, right?
Yep.
But to have numbers and for Ron to sell a show, the diversity that the light mod and the Outlaw class offers and I'm not a motor guy. You could have a Hemi sitting in front of me and it could say Hemi on the side of it. And I'd be like, Ron, what is that? And you'd be like, oh, Jason, that's a Hemi or a Rodak. I don't know any of that stuff. And I'll never learn it. I don't take the time to do that stuff. But the diversity in the Outlaw class with Ulmers, with the stair step Chevys, to win a points championship in 2023 with that, against River Rat with the Hemis, and the turbines and all that different stuff like that. It's neat, Brandon. And I hope you can keep it that way. I really, really do.
Well,
really
there's actually starting to be some interest shown from some other groups on our mod rules. I've actually had a conversation or two, of some other groups that are really interested in it because they've seen how it works for us. They've seen the diversity, and it's kind of like the 5.0 class. I think that's great. The more places that we have running the rules, the better it is for the sport in general.
Because, like somebody said, I interviewed Dave Schreier last night, and he made the comment there. I went to his house, and it was a very nice home, but it wasn't a mansion. I thought it'd be like a big mansion with a hill with a guarded gate and stuff like that. But he made the comment that, let's say a sponsor came in and gave $10 million to the sport, then all the big money guys would go chase that $10 million. And the guy that couldn't afford it would still chase it, wanting to win that $10 million, but never would get it. And I've been thinking about that all day long. And why in pulling do we have this mentality that it's supposed to be for everybody? Do you know what I mean? Like, there isn't a hobby anywhere. Like, Brandon, if you can't afford a pro stock, you build a damn hot farm and you go have fun in hot farm. And if you can't afford a hot farm, you pull an altered farm or a pro farm. Or if you can't build a 4-engine mod, you build a light mod. I don't quite know.
True.
I'm not ripping on what Schreier was saying, but to that point, I want somebody to dump $10 million into the sport. Because, you read all, why can't we be why can't we have a crowd like the Gator Nationals did? If you guys saw Adam Kester's post, and he is on a rant right now. I got to sit him down and see what's going on. But he's supposed to come on our Let's Grow Pulling show. But I think the only way the sport's going to grow, guys, and it's growing organically. Don't get me wrong. Brandon, you're seeing it. Ron, you're seeing it. I'm seeing it just from a pure numbers database. But the only way sports is going to grow, guys, is more money, more numbers, more eyeballs on the sport. That attracts more sponsors. That attracts more money. But where there's money, you're going to attract more competition. You know what I mean? And more people like that. And pullers, like the 5.0 class. So if you're a 5.0 pro stock, you're always thinking, you know what? I kind of want to be a big pro. And then you kind of go be a big pro for a couple of years, and you're kind of like, I kind of want to be a 5.0 pro again. You know what I mean? Because there's that hot, you're never, if you're a truck or tractor puller, you're never satisfied. You're just not. And you just have to decide where you're at in your life, what you can afford, and how much you want to travel. And, being a part of the Outlaws is something I can run a big circuit, and I can still go to a lot of different states and a lot of different pulls and be at a national level event. You know what I mean? And that's what you kind of have to decide on what you want to do. Because that's one of the questions I get a lot is like, why do you run with this group, or why do you do this group, or on different things like that. And I read something on Pull Off today about pullers need to unionize. But pullers they can decide where they go, Brandon, right, Ron? But nobody builds a pulling truck or a tractor to win money. Nobody. I don't care if you do.
To make money, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, to make money. You don't go, hey, honey, you build it because, honest to God, you can write it off. Let's just be honest, right? You can write that thing off as advertiser. You can bury it in the farm account, or you can bury it in the trucking account, or you can bury it somewhere. There's no secret about that, but it's your hobby. But as we get into it, then we start saying, well, why can't we make more money? Well, Brandon, you've been a promoter. Ron, you've been a promoter. You're a promoter. I've promoted stuff. Guys, unless we're stuffing 10,000 people into these facilities at $20 a piece, you can't make any money as a promoter either without going and knock on every single door in your town. And it's not just pulling, guys. Every motorsport is difficult like that. That's why we need the Case IHs of the world and the whole Ganix thing that you guys got hooked up this year and all the sponsors that make it happen. It's awesome, the amount of stuff that's coming in and the money and the opportunity, with the Young Gun program. That was Dave Nelson's, baby, and he dreamed it up, and Titan came along and bang, and now that gave Titan something to latch onto. Otherwise, you're a series sponsor or a class sponsor or something like that, but it gave it something unique. And I didn't mean to hijack Brandon Holcomb tonight. Sorry, but I just been thinking of all this stuff. So.
No, you're on. I mean, you're exactly right, Jason. And every puller, and I've been guilty of it too. I'm sure when I pulled, we all want more money. We all think we ought to be pulling for more money, but I don't know a puller out there that if they're pulling for a charity pull or something for the Young Gun scholarship or something like that. I mean, look at the money that was spent this year at our banquet at the scholarship auction. I mean, we can all say we're doing this or we need more money, but we're all putting the money right back into this again. We're doing this because we love to do it.
I want more money. I want more money as a puller when I know that the promoter made money,
right?
Brandon, Ron, and that the association I'm pulling
sure.
with, the Outlaws, are making money too. And that's where, if you guys, if you get a chance, watch the Schreier interview I did last night. It lagged a little bit because the Wi-Fi in the country wasn't that good, but we recorded it and we're going to replay it. I did not know the history of it. I always thought it was just the NTPA. I heard this WPI thing, but I never put it all together. In '87, the NTPA was done. And he basically said all the money was going back to the pullers. And I thought, well, that's what we want. But then there was nothing left for the promoters. So why go risk it if you're not getting anything? So I think that's where Dave's also caught a bunch of crap too. Because we sent out a text message yesterday to 100 people. We said, hey, we're interviewing Dave Schreier tonight. Send us a question. And half the people said, I said, this is not a roast. This is an 84-year-old man. That's one of the biggest names, influential names in the sport. Give his entire life to it since '86 is when they WPI started. And you guys had kidney stones and esophagus flare-ups and the stress from pulling. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go into this man's house and ask him hard questions. I just want to tell your story because that's what it's all about. But some stuff come out. That's where I feel like working with the Outlaws and Dave and Kurt and you, Ron, and everybody. It's a business, but it's a family business. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? Because I don't know. Am I saying that right, Ron? Like
when we're talking about pulling and the classes and then having a restricted pro stock class, things like that, I always try to kind of use drag racing as a comparison. How many top fuel dragsters are there? Top fuel dragsters would be the big 4-engine mods in the pulling world, right? Or you could say the pro stocks even. But how many are there? How many events do they actually compete in throughout the year? So, and you have smaller drag strips, so they're running smaller series, So, I don't. The 5-inch pro stock rule, I think that was a great compromise that actually you kind of have to read the room too, where you're at geographically. Could the Outlaws support an unlimited mod class where we're at? Are there enough in the country? I don't think there are. I mean,
Purser's the only buddy that's even relatively close. Knapp's somewhere in Iowa. You know what I mean? But that'd be the different thing. But, I've talked to a lot of people about that, and like, Roberts just did that back in the day to get money for the Outlaws, because then those guys couldn't go anywhere else. And then you hear the people, well, the Western Series started because it was all Roberts rejects. So, this is all common knowledge and talking about stuff like that and to get things out there. But I think when you look at the health of the Outlaws today, it's as strong as it's ever been. I mean, from just the leadership, I don't think you guys have an executive board or whatever you call it, but all you people that sit up there on the stage and I got to listen to you. What's that called? Is that the board?
That's the board. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Are you guys like an executive board? Like, should I be nicer to you, Ron? Or
you should be much nicer to me. Yes.
Okay.
We've been taking several notes, Jason.
I'd like to
talking about this next fall.
I'd like to apologize, Ron, to anything I've ever said to you. I think you're great. I think you're beautiful. I love your voice. I do love your voice, actually, in real life. But I mean, from what I like about the show, Ron and Brandon, what we're doing is we're bringing you into the backstage a little bit, and we're talking about everything, because I feel like for the longest time, it was kind of hidden, right? Unless you were part of the inner circle, you didn't know what was going on and stuff like that. So, and so Russ, why is Travis Schlaba a big name puller? Why isn't Mark Ulmer a big name puller? And here's why. It's because we don't see him. Mark Ulmer is just as big a name as Travis Schlaba, but we always kind of want what we can't have. Does that make sense, guys? And Travis Schlaba is my hero. You guys know that. Oh, my singer is my new hero, but Travis is number 2 now. I have not officially got them together and explained to them how this is going to work, but Doug is now number 1 and Travis is number 2. But I always joke about Travis because he lives in Ringo, Iowa, and that's where I was born. But Russ, when I see comments like that, I think that's like it's that year, Ron, the COVID year when everybody came to Rock Valley, Foreplay, Holman's, and those were the legendary guys that never been to an Outlaw pull, right?
Right.
Because what fans, what you don't understand is there's typically a pre-commitment thing for MTPA or PPL. Brandon, what's it called in PPL? It's not pre-commitment.
The Champions Club.
Yeah, so you pay extra money, fans. The puller pays extra money, and then they get some show money, and then they get it's show money, and I think they get some extra money. Like if they win a weekend, they get some extra bonus money and stuff like that. So that's how and I don't think the Outlaws have anything like that, right? For the big classes, I don't think so. Do they? Is it something under the table I don't know about?
Nothing I know of.
Okay. Well, anyway, but that's that pre-commitment money. So the big names are coming to these, the big names, if you will, the Holman brothers for like how many national championships do they have? 32? Yeah. I don't know, something like that. To get an Esden, that's like when Esden Lane came to Wisner, you guys. That
was a big deal. Yeah.
That won the internet that entire weekend. That was Bowling Green weekend. So there were people that were at home watching Outlaw TV that did not go to Bowling Green that saw that Esden Lane was in Wisner, and they freaking drove to Wisner Saturday night to watch Esden Lane pull there. I mean, I have hundreds of stories like that. Jer still has Sharpie on his chest of Esden Lane's name. But that's the big names. But I want to make sure we're celebrating our big names in the Outlaws, because we have some big names in the Outlaws. You know what I mean? But that's where maybe nobody knew who Doug Meisinger was nationally until he went to the Pullers Championship and whooped everybody's ass both nights in the Diesel Supers. And all of a sudden, everybody went, "Whoa, who's a scrappy guy?" Right? But he beat Trav, and he beat Payne, and he beat the big Diesel Supers, not once but twice. So I'm bragging that up because that's my head-to-head thing again here this year. And Esden's coming to the Pullers Championship and stuff like that. But Russ, I'm not ripping on your comment at all. But that's what I do want to talk about. That we have Mark Ulmer. We have we have huge names in the Outlaws, but we see them every week, so they're our buddies, right? Does that make sense, guys? Am I saying that right? Holcomb, do you agree? Because you're kind of sitting
there. No, and the thing of it is, it kind of goes back to like we were talking about earlier, with the big three groups, kind of being in communication and everything. I guess I should say I'm speaking for myself, I guess, but we all need each other, and we all want to be on those terms like that. So if, we had Tim Skelton with us several times last year, we had Esden with us a few times the year before that, things like that. We want to be able for that to happen. So, our big names can go out there and their big names can come here, and everybody can intermingle. And you're right. I think that is a false storyline that's going around out there that we're all out to get each other. And that's absolutely not true. When the announcement was made about, PPL last fall, all of us were nervous about that. That wasn't going to be good for the sport of tractor pulling whatsoever, and I had phone calls from guys like, oh, you guys are going to grow. You're going to grow. I was like, no, we don't want to grow like that. That's not the way we want to grow, and we're glad to be back in action. So,
are there 8 weekends in July all of a sudden? Because there's no more room. We're working on.
Do we have enough techs? We have enough techs for that, Brandon?
If anybody out there would like to be a tech official this summer, please reach out to me because we can put you to work immediately.
Well, and this is my shout out for some extra camera people to run a camera for Outlaw TV, because Ron and I, or Dave and I, or Doug Borth and I were working on the schedule on the way to Schreier's interview last night, and there's a lot of events, and like one's in Texas and one's in Nebraska, and I'm like, wow, this Outlaw TV thing is for real. So I was like, and then we had to get a hold of Ron to say, so like, what do we do? Like when there's 2 events, and where's all this equipment at and stuff like that. So it's neat.
Well, and Doug actually called me today. He was he gave me a size for a tech shirt and everything. He kind of led me to believe he was kind of giving up and just going to tech for me this summer. So I don't know if he talked to you about that yet, or
so off the air,
I guess.
So off the air, I'll text you a salary, Brandon. And if you can fit that into the Outlaw budget, I would. I'm going to ask a lot more questions.
It just so happens I just emailed him a tech schedule a little while ago too. That's
there
crazy.
You go.
Oh, I love it. No, I love it. But no, this is fun. I really look forward to this. It's fun, Brandon, to have you on, because I've known you for a long time. And Ron said it earlier, everybody respects you as a tech official, and as a puller, you've been there, you've done it. And some people, like you said, you're doing this for the right reasons. You missed it, you came back. You're not at every single pull because you can't be. You're honest with everybody, because otherwise you'll just kill yourself.
I'm probably not going to Buckner this year with the comment that's on the screen right now.
Howdy, boy. He's calling you a man.
Either that or he's calling you boys and I'm a man. I don't know which.
He is.
Maybe that's it.
He is. He sent me a separate Snapchat, says, I'm about to smoke you and Ron. So it's all good.
Oh, I don't know if I got a warning or not. Thanks a lot, Summers. I appreciate that.
I check my Snapchat regularly from Summers, because his are always the best. So, no, that's the gist of it. And that's like, when Ron says, hey, because Ron lines up all the guests, he's the talent acquisition here because he's the host. I'm just a co-host. I always try to think like what side story or angle that, like, as an average fan, do I not know about? And I really want people to know. And I didn't really realize it, Brandon, until like you mentioned it and Ron mentioned it. One PPL, the threat that PPL was not going to be back. The look on Ron and Kurt's face and Dave's face and Von Bowers and Greg Randall's at the NTPA, like, what are we going to do? We got to have them.
Yeah, we weren't throwing any big parties or anything. That was for sure.
No, there's just no way, that if any 3 of us drop, there's no way the other 2 can pick up the slack, and that's just not good for the sport. It's not good for the pullers or anything involved.
And let's be honest. I feel like the Outlaws are trying harder than ever to not let anybody catch them. Because I think if you were the only show in town, but if you got kind of something, you need competition. You need it at work. You need it in your personal life. Like, I guess I don't need anybody chasing my wife. That would suck. But like, kids need it in high school. That's why, like, I'm bummed out when kids aren't in like either in activities. Like, you need to compete a little bit.
Yes.
You need to learn how to lose gracefully. I don't always do it the best, but you got to have the highs and lows of life. So when you do have a low, you don't want to go just, run your car into a bridge abutment. You just be like, okay, I had a bad day. Let's move on. And that's where, and pulling's the same way. And as an outlaw, as an organization, the circle's on your back, right? It's not just west of the Mississippi anymore. Wasn't that always the biggest saying forever? I think with the Outlaws, Those are those pullers west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Well,
NTPA used to come west, but not so much these days. I mean, they do some, but yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just
competition's good. Competition is definitely good. I mean, it helps you improve. I mean, if you didn't have competition, you wouldn't try to improve what you're doing, right? I mean,
right. I mean, like for Ron, it's how do I go get the next big sponsor? For me, it's how do I get the next big viral video on the Outlaw page or on the Outlaw TikTok? And if Ron and I ever figure out how to hook Instagram up to Facebook, it's going to be a freaking miracle. And I thought I knew everything about social media. Oh, it's been frustrating.
Yeah, that's a crazy roadblock we've run into there.
Hey, Brandon, when Ron messages you during the day and you're like doing your real job and he just says, "Are you busy?" Be careful how you answer that. Because, no, what's up? And then 3 hours later, you're still talking. So that's happened twice. He's took me down that rabbit hole twice in the last week. So it's all good.
He never answers though. He just calls you back. He just calls you immediately.
Because I don't like the Facebook message. Like, what do you want, Stone? Let's get it done. Let's get it done. So, Brandon, when you look, so the semis, I'm jacked about the semis. Diesel trucks. I just have my promoter hat on, Brandon. Can we get more diesel trucks? How many times did you book them this year, Ron?
Oh, I think I've got them like 16 different events. I think 16 hooks. Does that sound right, Brandon?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close. And then I think we're still kind of toying with the 2.6s a little bit in 23 as well. And then we did do a little bit of a rule change in the 3.0 class this year. Always in the past, they had to have OEM firewall and floorboards. There were some 3.6 trucks or some old 3.6 trucks that were kind of wanting to maybe come this way and play a little bit. So we modified that rule. It really probably should have been done several years ago anyway to do away with the OEM floorboards and firewall. So hopefully, in the future, we start seeing a few more of those guys trickle down this way. And even if they don't hit every event, I think they'll at least get a taste of it anyway. And hopefully as that goes on, there'll be more of them, or some of those trucks are probably setting for sale right now too. And somebody can buy one, bring it out here and get in the business.
There's a couple that are actually coming out of mothballs, I think, for 2023, going to pull with the Outlaws. I say mothballs, they haven't pulled for a season or two. We'll see a couple trucks that used to pull in Midwest that'll be back this year. But yeah, I know. 16 hooks is a big
solid
for that class. I mean,
that's solid. Yeah,
and
that's very, very good.
So, I'm hoping we'll bring those trucks out. And honestly, I tried in scheduling not to schedule anything on top of, any PPL events. That's something a lot of people don't realize too, that you coordinate with, your safety directors and your competition directors of these other organizations. But, literally we try not to book anything on top of, PPL or have any conflicts on the schedule, especially with a class that there's just not a lot of vehicles in that particular class. It's not good for either promoter to have, a half a class show up, because we booked on the same night. But sometimes it can't be avoided, but, we do make the attempt to do that.
Well, and like you say, you try really hard not to do that. The thing you get into is PPL's got a hometown boy pulling that night. We've got a hometown boy pulling that night in the same class. Well, both places want the class, and that's totally understandable. But if it's county fair or something like that, we can't change the date. It's just unavoidable. Yeah.
Case in point, right here, Kurt Koima with he's kind of a big deal up in Rock Valley.
He's a real big deal.
Only in Rock Valley, though. Like when he gets out of Rock Valley, though, he's squashed. Like I'm a big deal everywhere, okay, Koima. So don't get all mouthy. But when I come to Rock Valley, I bring it down a notch, man. I bring it down a notch.
But the case in point right here, the diesel trucks and working with the Valley Pullers there and Rich Rosaboom. They wanted the 3.0 diesel pickups. It's our 20th anniversary pull. They want to have a big blowout type of pull. They want the semis. They want the 3.0 trucks. PPL's hooking in Chillicothe, Missouri, the Friday night of Rock Valley. That's our sponsor, our class sponsor, which he also is of the Western Series 3.0 diesel pickup class, is No Way Man Diesel Performance. And that's kind of a hometown pull for him, And some of those guys are going to go hang out on Chillicothe on Friday night. Rich said, what can we do? We want those trucks. How about we do it 2 sessions on Saturday, the Saturday day session, Saturday night. We can do that. The guys that are going to Chillicothe said they would convoy up there. So that's just what we're talking about, and trying not to, have conflicting hooks. Sometimes you can't help it, but that's people working for the good of the sport and for these classes to try to make it work.
Well, and that's where, and I like to hear, like, there's some classes that, like, there's enough light limited pros or 85, whatever, limited pros you want to call them. There's 100 of those, but there's certain classes like the diesel trucks that you split it up a little bit. It'd be great to have all the diesel super stocks at one pull. Love to have them all come to Rock Valley once and different things like that, but it's never possible. Hey, Ron, this is something I've been seeing a lot on Facebook. One is the Outlaw app. Who does that? How does all that work? The Outlaw app and everything get updated? Do we hire somebody to do that?
I know that.
What's that?
Said I don't. I know that. I'm not sure when the Outlaw app will be updated for the new season. I think first and foremost, we've got to get this schedule finalized.
That's what I've been telling people.
There's still some jockeying around the classes a little bit and things like that. We're pretty well set on our events, but there's still some class movement going on and things like that. So, but it's coming very soon. As soon as that is set in stone, then I'm sure the app will follow.
Okay. I do know Brent Payne's going to bring the light supers out and run with the Outlaws some this summer. I talked to him. So that's
Awesome.
going to be pretty cool.
Awesome.
So you guys are going to see the Galat tractors and his new one out there as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. I
think we've got some new ones coming out this year. I think there'll be a new 540 tractor or two out this year. And I think we'll have a few more of our big light supers out this year. I'm getting pretty excited about it. It's getting a little warmer weather. The sun's been shining and the phone's been ringing a little bit more. So I think everybody's kind of got the same ideas. It's going to be pulling season soon.
Now you say the big light supers, that's the old unlimited super, right?
There you go. That's the old.
Ron.
Shut him off, Jason.
I knew what you meant.
I have a throw them in front of the bus logo for my Let's Grow Pulling. I'm gonna have to bring that image over to this show too now and put that up on the screen when Ron does that to me a little bit. Makes it fun.
Brandon, are you good to go? Do you need to go?
Oh no, we're good for a little bit.
So we're just like two months and a couple of days away from. It's Monet, Missouri. I'm going to get it changed when I swing into town. I'm heading down to City Council. But Monet, Missouri, they've been doing a good job promoting that already, guys. Yeah. They're 2 months out. So this is my little. If you're a promoter, don't wait until 3 weeks before your event. Have your meetings now. Get your concession people, get your lined up. Get your parking people get lined up. Get your track builders lined up. Have a plan. Just start. If you got water sitting on your track because you didn't level it last fall or you didn't crown it, get it off it now so you don't have soft spots. Start doing the little things now. Don't wait until the week of your event. You know what I mean? You're paying good money to have the Outlaws come in, and we want you to rock and roll and have a great event. So.
And this was the topic of discussion on last week's show, Jason. Kenzie and I talked about this in promoting. You remember last season we did a little workshop.
Yep.
Did a few workshops, and I threw that out there for promoters if they want that and need that to do that again, to just email you or I, and we would get that done.
Yeah, we'll set the Zoom call again.
But yeah, I was just kind of spurring those promoters to start getting those ads out there. You need to start letting people know right now. Mm-hmm. People are making summer plans, summer vacation plans, and things like that. You don't want them to plan a trip to Florida when they could be at your pull. So,
well, I think a lot of people think like with social media, they have to have fancy videos and pictures. You can just the 2023 dates are ding, 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 post and throw it on the story and throw it on. It's not hard. I mean, even Brandon Holcomb can do that. He does.
I could do it. I bet I could do it.
I bet he could do it. I could show you how to do that if I had to. So, get all that stuff down there.
Hey, Jason, real quick. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that comment on the screen. That's probably the only other Jason in the world that is a bigger deal than you.
He's yeah, I have him in my phone as Jason Big Deal Hill.
The big deal. When people say Jason a big deal Hill, they think first. Schultz, they think second. No offense, buddy, but I mean it's just the way it is.
I'm kind of a pretend big deal. You know what I mean? But he actually is a real big deal. So it's kind of fun.
Well, speaking of big deal, that's kind of a big deal there with
Platte
Jason.
City, baby.
We are coming back to Platte City, Missouri this year. That's going to be a huge pull. That pull always well known in the past for diesel pickups.
Yeah, and huge crowds.
Yeah.
Hill said they pack them in so freaking deep down there. It's insane, and they're close to Kansas City.
Yep.
I'm pumped for that event, and that's part of that little.
That's
No,
in
they're
the
doing a little 4-1 sweep with that.
Yeah, that's right in the middle of the sweep.
Summers buddy from Missouri State, I think. What's that guy's name? Really nice guy, gray beard. Always see him at Cowtown in the back. Has a D21.
Brad Summers.
Yeah. They're doing something, and they're putting some 4-1 money, like a little.
They're doing a little sweep too, but the organic sweep's going on in the middle of that as well. So the 4-1s, take notice. That's one of the classes that'll be there. Let's see, the light pros are going to Pawnee City. The pro stock 4x4s. What other class is there that's in that? Pro stock tractors. So
another thing too, Brandon touched on earlier, the vehicles are making more, they're finding horsepower every year with the same set of rules. And that's just technology. That's going to happen. If you're a track builder and your track's maybe known as a looser track, it doesn't have to be a loose track forever. There's glue you can put in it now. Talk to Holcomb. There's liquid they're putting in stuff now. You can put organic material into it in the fall. I mean, I'm talking manure. You can do a lot of things to these tracks. You can dig them in the fall, let the frost come through it, thaw them out, freeze them out, and stuff like that. Because if you go to Ron and you say, hey, I want a big sponsor comes along, and you've always just had maybe 466 tractors and something in the past, like, man, we really want the pros and the mods. We got this big sponsor. And there are certain tracks I'm not trying to be mean to everybody, but I want to cover the whole gamut of being a promoter, what it takes. Yeah. Nobody wants to bring a 3,500 horsepower pro stock and just spin the tires. You know what I mean? That's how stuff breaks. So if you want to learn how to build a track, call Mr. Holcomb if he needs a little bit of help. And talking about somebody's tracks like talking about their girlfriend or their wife, and it's not fun. And I don't care if they're watching; they're my friends now. The Zellwood, Florida guys, they've never had any big horsepower on there. And then the last couple of years, some of the tractors stayed after Ocala, and they never dug that track, Brandon. Never. It was that hard. It actually, when Doug Borth and Kevin Moore had them dig that, it killed the grader, and it was not a little grader. It was a big cat. I don't even know, but they dug that, and that track was good. Tedder's mod was there, the 3-engine mod, and it picked the front end up at 10 feet and carried it the whole way. So don't be afraid to ask for help. You know what I mean? If you're building tracks. The problem is, and everybody has a good dirt guy in their town, and he's got the equipment that you need, but it doesn't mean he knows how to build a pulling track. Okay. And that's a problem. We're all friends, right? Just like Brandon, like, I don't want to accuse somebody of cheating because I might go to his trailer and eat later. And that's what's hard about pulling sometimes, but it's also what's hard about being a promoter too, because you have all these volunteers in your town and you all want to be friends, but you want to put on a great show too. And that's the business side of it. And that's where you just got to be honest with people and go in and do that. I don't know why I'm talking so much tonight, Ron.
Are you on your meds? Are you good?
I took my CBD. I take CBD every day now. It's been good for me. So, yeah.
Well, Brandon, where do you see the future of the sport going? I mean, not just with the Outlaws, but I mean, overall, do you see anything in the future that you think is going to happen that could change the direction of pulling? Or
well, I think the main thing is we got to stay on this safety stuff, like we talked about earlier. To keep it in the direction of this going, because your Harts and your Weimers and your Fair Valleys and everybody's going to keep finding more and more horsepower out of this stuff. So, I think at some point in time, I don't know where that's going to lead us to. I know there's a big talks about components and things like that. I don't know if that's the answer to everything either. So, I think the future of the sport, I think pulling's going to be here, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you how it's going to be, because things are evolving and changing so much and so fast that, that's one of my job duties, is to try to keep up on the new technology that's coming out, so we kind of know how to police it and everything. And man, it's a full-time job. I mean, Ryan and I are on the phone with each other constantly, and he'll say, hey, did you know this? Or I'll say, hey, I just heard about these new tires or something like that, and I've been involved in this a long, long time. And I think probably the last 2 to 3 years is probably we've had more advances in technology than probably the last 10 years combined.
Agreed.
I don't see that letting up in the near future on anything.
And of course, all that technology is put into play because of the ability to monitor all those parameters of an engine that's going down the track. You know, the computers that monitor your exhaust and your intake and all those dynamics going in there. So yeah, technology is huge. And you touched on something just now, Brandon, the component chassis. You know, of course, the PPL is going with component in the 540 Light Pro class. And there'd been talk of it in the 4.1 class. Of course, the Outlaws have not done that, but and we were talking about that a little bit ago about money and, you know, and things like that, and the big mods and people that have money and things like that. But, you know, I've heard some pullers actually say, well, you know, that just might be my out to just retire from pulling if they go component, you know, say in the 4.1 class. What's your take on that? Are the tractors safe? You know, the 4.1 tractors, the Light Pro tractors, are they safe enough to run the chassis that we're running without having to go to Light Pro?
You know, one thing about the technology nowadays, you know, and we've got the technology in the engines and the turbos and all that, but we've came a long ways on rear ends and transmissions too. You know, I mean, you take a stock 706 rear end out of an IH tractor that we used to pull, and absolutely not, it would not be safe. But, you know, with the tubs and the full frames and all that kind of stuff now, you know, I don't feel that we're in any kind of a safety issue at the moment that way. And, you know, you talk about axles breaking, wheels come off, things like that. I mean, I've seen them come off of component tractors as well. Maybe another 500 horse, I might have a different opinion on that. But, you know, I've seen rear ends break, I've seen transmissions break, but I've also seen a lot of engine blocks break too. So I don't feel like we have an issue, you know, any further back or any worse at this point or that point. We're just testing the limits of everything, whether it's a component or a cast. The other thing, you know, and I'm not getting into an argument about should we do it, should we not, because I'm kind of on both sides of the fence. I have reasons for both sides. But, you know, one thing you got to think about too is you take your 4020 rear end or your 706 rear end. I mean, those tractors were made in the 60s, you know, and 70s, and we plowed with them for 30 or 40 years, you know, and just beat them to death. And now we're expecting to get 3,000 horse out of them. So, you know, it does kind of make you step back and scratch your head a little bit. But, you know, like I say, we have to tip our hat to the guys building the transmissions and the rear ends, because they're doing a good job of keeping them together at this point. And you're right, Ron, too, to touch on what you just said about, you know, I've had a lot of guys, and I'm going to pick on the older guys, you know, that have called me on this component deal. And they're like, you know, I'm 65 years old. I'm not going to go spend that kind of money, you know, to start from scratch again. I'll just park it, you know, and that's not good for the sport, because there's a lot more guys that are 60 to 65 in this sport right now than there is 25. You know, so if all those what we call legends step down, you know, it's up to our young guns to pick up where they were. And I don't think we're at that point where we can do that yet.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I that's what I chuckled at. I didn't mean to laugh, but how are you going to keep your tech guys like this in line this summer? Just, you know, like this setter guy.
Well, you just let Jared do the early stuff, like pulling the, you know, putting the kill switches on and running the scales.
I think this year, because Jerry, you know, he's had a little trouble with his shoulder. He's getting up there in age. We actually, a few weekends ago, Louisville watch party, Ernie Connor was there with us, and we actually talked to Ernie about maybe building him a billet shoulder so that thing had quit breaking on him. But, you know, if we don't get that done, I think what we're going to do this summer is put him in charge of Sam Kelly, because we can't leave Sam by himself unsupervised. It's just not a good thing. And Jerry's a pretty good fit for a babysitter.
He's married now. I thought he was behaving. So
he is, but when she's really mean to him at home. But when he gets away from her, he tries to let it all out, and that's not good for any of us. So that's where Jerry comes into play at.
Understood. So we're gonna start a new contest on the show. So I need so Brandon, go to your computer, go to outlawpolling.com and bring up the schedule. Okay, Ron, you do the same thing.
Okay.
So when you get ready, each of you are going to read it as fast as you can, and I'm going to time you. Just the towns. So Monette, Missouri, Ravenna, Nebraska, Cherokee, Iowa.
I'm from Missouri, Jason. I can't read. I have to get my schedule on audio.
No, it's okay, Brandon, because we're going to. I know you can read, so don't do this to me. And I'm just going to keep track of this on my little sticky note, and then whoever is the fastest, you get like a free Outlaw hat or something like that. So. Every week, and I'll go first, and I'll time myself. Or Ron, do you have a stopwatch on your phone, Ron?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have your schedule up?
I don't have mine pulled up here. I thought I was going to put it on the screen or something. So
Jared just resigned.
Jared? Oh,
he tells me that several times a year, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah, Connie will unresign him. She wants him.
Yeah.
Gone. She said, "I'm so glad you guys are nice to him. It gives me a little time to,
Todd Bowles just messaged me, Brandon, said I need to ask you a question. I'm not sure if I can ask this. Something about. Got it. Ask Brandon.
This ought to be a good one.
If when is going be what the heck? I can't.
Todd has some issues with texting. He is from Southern Iowa, which is close enough to me from Missouri. We have issues.
Well, I can't tell if he's saying something about weenies or when is. I'm not sure what he's saying there.
He is talking about weenuses, which if anybody knows anything about anatomy, it's actually the skin on your elbow. But we had a little issue with that one night when I hurt my elbow and I told him my weenus hurt. And in front of about, I'm going to say 2,200 people, he tried to inspect something else right in the middle of the track. So we had to have a little anatomy class.
That's a good story, Holcomb.
But for future, just going forward, I would just say your elbow hurts.
I'm going to from now on because it was a very uncomfortable situation.
I would have to put my reading glasses on to do this competition, just saying.
That's fine. Well, we're doing this.
Are you going to go first?
Yep. Are you going to time me?
I'm going to. Hang on just a moment here.
I have my stopwatch ready for you guys. So.
Stop. Oh, is yours configured with mine? But, all right.
No, mine's just my Apple phone.
So Brandon is independent here, and he's a tech guy, so he's going to say when to start.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Ready.
Go.
Monett, Missouri, Ravenna, Nebraska, Cherokee, Iowa, Arlington, Nebraska, White, Texas, Manila, Iowa, Concord, Nebraska, Rock Valley, Iowa, Albion, Nebraska, Bloomfield, Iowa, Ottawa, Iowa, Norfolk, Nebraska, Troy, Missouri, Martha, Missouri, David City, Nebraska, Montgomery, Missouri, Lee, Nebraska, Pawnee State, Nebraska, Platte City, Missouri, Britt, Iowa, Mercer, Missouri, Pierre, Nebraska, Sac City, Iowa, Wayne, Nebraska, Humboldt, Iowa, Corydon, Iowa, Lamar's, Iowa, Warrensburg, Missouri, Scribb, Nebraska, Gibbon, Nebraska, Dijon, Texas, Mobile, Iowa, Mount City, Kansas, Weepy, Nebraska, West Point, Nebraska, Palmer, Nebraska, Macon, Missouri, Iowa State Fair, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Chickasha, Oklahoma, Madison, South Dakota, now Nebraska State Fair, Unionville, Missouri, Buckner, Missouri, Bedford, Iowa, Spencer, Iowa, Lufkin, Texas.
Okay. Did you say Spencer? Or
yes.
Not Spencer? Pierce. Did you say Pierce, Nebraska?
Where's it at?
Oh, in the middle.
I said Britt, Iowa, Mercer, Missouri, Pierce. Do you think I skipped it?
You know what? I'm looking at a different schedule. I'm looking like the cheater schedule that I have.
Oh, I'm on the.
His has only got 4 polls on it. He's going to win.
It may have been.
I went to outlawpulling.com, the official website of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pullers.
No, it may be simply because it's in a different order here if we're on the same night, but 33.57 seconds.
So that's pretty good. You got to admit.
33.57.
Okay.
All right.
You going next, Ron?
Am I going now, or is Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon,
bring up the rear at about 3 minutes.
Brandon, you start him, okay? I'm clocking him.
All right, you got the clock ready?
Ron, which schedule are you using? Because we got to use the same schedule, kiddo.
What's the same schedule? It's just
they're in a different order.
Yeah, just like some of the polls on the same night might be reversed in the order, but that's
fine
on the same date.
I just want I want to have the same rules if we're going to pull in the pro stock class.
You're playing head games. You're trying to get in my head already here. You're trying to get in my head.
All right, ready, set, go.
Monett, Missouri, Sedalia, Missouri, Ravenna, Nebraska, Cherokee, Iowa, Arlington, Nebraska, Manila, Iowa, White, Texas, Monett, Missouri, Concord, Nebraska, Rock Valley, Iowa, Albion, Nebraska, Bloomfield, Iowa, Ottawa, Iowa, Norfolk, Nebraska, Troy, Missouri, David City, Nebraska, Marthasville, Missouri, Montgomery City, Missouri, Lee, Nebraska, Platte City, Missouri, Pawnee City, Nebraska, Mercer, Missouri, Britt, Iowa, Sac City, Iowa, Pierce, Nebraska, Bowling Green, Missouri, Humboldt, Iowa, Wayne, Nebraska, Corydon, Iowa, Lamar's, Iowa, Warrensburg, Missouri, Scribner, Nebraska, Gibbon, Nebraska, Dijon, Texas, Mobile, Iowa, Mound City, Kansas, Weeping, Nebraska, West Point, Nebraska, Palmer, Nebraska, Macon, Missouri, Iowa State Fair, Wisdom, Nebraska, Chickasha, Oklahoma, Madison, South Dakota, Nebraska State Fair, Unionville, Missouri, Buckner, Missouri, Bedford, Iowa, Spencer, Iowa, Lufkin, Texas.
41.97.
There was a few in there that we actually aren't even.
You actually added a few polls all of a sudden.
Yeah,
right?
there was a few extra. So I need a redo.
I went to outlawpulling.com, the official website of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association.
All right, cheater. I'm going to go
also home of Outlaw Pulling TV and the Young Guns Association of the Heartland. So I'm just trying to. I mean, what do you want me to do, Stone? I only got what I got, kiddo.
I'm going to pull up a current schedule here, and I actually left my other one in the truck, so that's crazy. If I go anywhere, I take my paperwork with me so I can refer to that stuff if I get a call. So
it's kind of your job. I mean, I'm trying to be that
right.
guy, but so
here's what I'm going to do.
Okay, what are you going to do?
I'm going to print off this schedule. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I should have went to outlawpulling.com here.
That's what Jason and I did.
I said that 3 times.
Say that?
Do you not listen to me? I don't think you listen to me, Ron.
Did you say that? The Outlaw Pulling? I was just throwing it. That was just a shameless plug, is all.
I said Outlaw Pulling, the official website of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association.
Outlawpulling.com. You got it.
Outlawpulling.com. Go to outlawpulling.tv for all your watch viewing pleasure.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe we should let Brandon go.
Are you doing it again?
I'm going to.
Okay. Let me reset my clock here.
I'm going to do it again.
Holcomb, this is fun. Thanks for humoring us tonight, buddy.
We
really don't want the guests to talk. We just want to have a reason to have a show, and then Ron and I just banter.
I think Ron just really wants that outlaw hat.
I do. I need an outlaw. I need another outlaw hat. Yes. Let's see. Outlawpulling.com, the official website of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pullers.
And you click on the 2023 schedule.
Yeah.
First time Ron's ever been on the website.
Yeah.
Larry Vaughn says this is not very entertaining.
Well, Larry Vaughn, what else do you have that's better to do tonight, huh?
Yeah,
Seriously.
I think this is fun, but we're advertising our polls. What
the heck is going on here?
Mark Ulmer says, all I know is light superstock ag is 24 times. There you go. Boy, Ulmer.
He's right even. I just looked.
Tractor Pulling fan on YouTube says, are we singing I've Been Everywhere by Johnny Cash? I've been everywhere.
We can do it. Yeah,
Ron actually has a singing voice. So got a face for radio and a beautiful voice. Boom.
Well, this is really doing some weird stuff here. I don't know why, but I was trying to bring it up on my tablet.
We're going to recite the schedule at Wisner after a few refreshments.
What the heck is going on? Who's having Jerry? Jerry's having some refreshments.
We're meeting at My Singer's trailer, and he's bringing the refreshments.
We could have
Last year, My Singer's trailer at Wisner was like walking into the Diesel Superstock Hall of Fame. I walked in there, Degenhart, Ulmer, Esden Lane, some My Singer guy. Goodwin was in there. Jeanette was in there. She's the My Singer. She's the important My Singer. So
she's one that keeps the show.
I don't even. Is Kansas as far west as they are? Are they in a different time zone than us? Are they out? Yeah. Are they an hour west?
They might be out there. They're way out there. Yeah.
It's like 6 o'clock out there. Sun's still up in Goodland, Kansas.
I don't know about that, but all right, schedule. Yes.
Jesus, Stone, taking forever.
Sorry, I don't know what was going on with this thing. It was acting all goofy.
Tell us when you're ready, Ron. Larry Vaughn, he quit watching the show. He went to bed.
Come on, Larry. Hang in there. All right, here we go. Hang on.
Brandon, you ready, Ron?
It's running really slow here. I need to bring it up big here. Put on my spectacles.
Brandon, we'll pay you extra for this. We'll give you 2 hats.
I'll get 2 hats. Awesome. Autograph one of them when you send it.
All right.
I'll have Van Beek do it.
I'm ready. Who's the official timer?
Brandon Holcomb, the tech official of the Outlaws. We've had this chat. Have you been listening to anything we've been saying tonight, Ron?
Yes, I have.
Schultz says that he's running the timer. I'm just running the Christmas tree.
All right. Here we go.
Do you have the timer, Jason?
Oh, don't you worry.
Okay.
Started.
All right. Start.
What?
Hold on, back up, clear the.
I was waiting on the word go. I was waiting on
Ready,
go.
set, go. Ready, set, go, Brandon.
Ready, set, go.
Monette, Missouri, Renner, Nebraska, Cherokee, Iowa, Arlington, Nebraska, White Wright, Texas, Manila, Iowa, Concord, Nebraska, Rock Valley, Iowa, Albion, Nebraska, Bloomfield, Iowa, Ottawa, Iowa, Norfolk, Nebraska, Troy, Missouri, Marthasville, Missouri, David City, Nebraska, Montgomery City, Missouri, Lee, Nebraska, Pawnee City, Nebraska, Platte City, Missouri, Britt, Iowa, Mercer, Missouri, Pierce, Nebraska, Sac City, Iowa, Wayne, Nebraska, Humboldt, Iowa, Corydon, Iowa, Lamar's, Iowa, Warrensburg, Missouri, Scribner, Nebraska, Gibbon, Nebraska, DeLeon, Texas, Mobile, Iowa, Mountain City, Kansas, Weeping Water, Nebraska, West Point, Nebraska, Palmer, Nebraska, Macon, Missouri, Iowa State Fair, Wisner, Nebraska, Chickasha, Oklahoma, Madison, South Dakota, Nebraska State Fair, Unionville, Missouri, Buckner, Missouri, Bedford, Iowa, Spencer, Iowa, Lufkin, Texas.
34.68.
Oh, baloney.
No. Hold on. We'll do. Well, Ron, we're going to do this every week.
Brandon, what was your time? What'd you get?
I didn't. I was reading to make sure you didn't miss any of them.
Oh,
This is all on Schultz.
see, but if Schultz would have brought in Pierce, Nebraska,
it would have took him 34.9.
We're doing this every week, Stone. So this is our new thing.
You'll have it memorized here before long.
I think you have to actually pronounce the things right too. You said right. Just saying, right, Texas. So,
Hey.
you know. You might have been faster, but mine was more clear and understandable.
Hey, Jason, he's been around tractor pulling too much. The track wasn't good.
Yeah,
The flag wasn't right. He got flagged too soon.
Picked the wrong line. I should have been up a gear. It just wasn't feeling it tonight. I waited too long to get on the throttle. Should have gave it more gas. I misread the track. The sun went down. I heard it all.
Damn tech
Emotions
official
coming up.
Poor
hook position. Poor hook position. That damn Outlaw app I always have first hook. So. All right. Ron, you be ready, set, go for Brandon, and I'm going to time it.
You're going to time it. All right.
Yep.
I'm ready.
On your mark. Timer, you ready?
Yes.
All right. On your mark. Get set. Go.
Monette, Missouri, Ravenna, Nebraska, Cherokee, Iowa, Arlington, Nebraska, Right, Texas, Manila, Iowa, Concord, Nebraska, Rock Valley, Iowa, Albion, Nebraska, Bloomfield, Iowa, Ottawa, Iowa, Norfolk, Nebraska, Troy, Missouri, Marthasville, Missouri, David City, Nebraska, Montgomery City, Missouri, Lee, Nebraska, Pawnee City, Nebraska, Platte City, Missouri, Britt, Iowa, Mercer, Missouri, Pierce, Nebraska, Sac City, Iowa, Wayne, Nebraska, Humboldt, Iowa, Corydon, Iowa, Lamar's, Iowa, Warrensburg, Missouri, Scribner, Nebraska, Gibbon, Nebraska, DeLeon, Texas, Mobile, Iowa, Mountain City, Kansas, Weeping Water, Nebraska, West Point, Nebraska, Palmer, Nebraska, Macon, Missouri, Iowa State Fair, Wisner, Nebraska, Chickasha, Oklahoma, Madison, South Dakota, Nebraska State Fair, Unionville, Buckner, Bedford, Spencer, and Lufkin.
Cheater.
We didn't need to put those states on the end of there, did we?
40.1, but it comes with an asterisk. So.
I knew I was a loser, so I thought, what the hell?
I can hear you kind of give up there. Like I heard a breath between everyone. So.
Started slowing down there towards the end. You were starting to run out of stamina.
That was a long track. I'm built for 300 foot, not 400.
47 pulls this year. 47. I think that's 58. I had those stats here somewhere. 58 sessions of pulling, I think is what it ended up being. Yeah, big season. Big show tonight. Brandon, I apologize. I told you I was going to get you off here.
Yeah, I better jump off here pretty quick. I probably ought to go in and
get you in trouble.
Birthday celebration results in.
Okay. Well, Brandon, thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate it. And
thank you guys. It's been fun.
Yep.
We need
Thank
to do
you
it
so
more
much.
often.
Brandon, are you just saying that, or do you truly mean it?
Did I want to come back, or did I?
No, that's been fun. That's been fun.
Oh, it has been fun. It has been fun.
We can have 10 minutes of tech every Tuesday with Brandon Holcomb. I mean, that can be a segment sponsored.
There you go.
There we go. Just give me a little heads up. We can make it happen.
Well, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can join us on Outlawed, Ron. So you can be our first guest right out of the gate.
Maybe we could bring a few up. Maybe we could actually get Setter on here with his face and everything to talk.
Connie would have to be home to turn on the internet.
So. Well, yeah, we'll do it maybe a little later in the evening, but not too late. He goes to bed pretty early.
Yep.
This
schedule reading contest thing is going to be kind of fun because I'm going to keep track of this. Do that.
Yeah, make sure we get Pierce in there next time.
Are the Outlaws going to run at Sedalia, Missouri Dream Factory Pole in June? No, right?
No, we are not. I apologize for mentioning that. I was looking at an old schedule when I went through the first time. No, that pole is going to be run by Missouri State tractor pullers and Mid Missouri and Missouri State tractor pullers. Is running Sedalia like they've done in the past.
Brandon, who has the best hair in the Outlaws? Out of all the pullers, who has the best hair? Ron, out of all the pullers, who has the best
pullers?
Hair? We know that. Well, mustache-wise, it's Dusty Berry, the two-wheel drive kid from Texas, Miller.
Yeah.
And then once Novak's kid, when he has his on, it's pretty mean. So we're gonna have a show, just kind of some of the fun stuff. So.
Best hair
in the Outlaws. Everybody, if you're watching, best hair in the Outlaws before we let Brandon go. And then Brandon's got to get inside. Ken Summers says who? Joe Moriando?
Smoking Joe.
He's known for a lot of things, but I don't know if his hair is one of them.
Yeah.
God, he was fun at the banquet this year.
Oh,
he was fun.
Here's Jerry's 10 minutes of tech with Jerry.
He's going to talk about pulling your kill. He's really good at that.
Mason Brown's son with a mullet. Oh, Summer Brown's boy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got Derek Brown. Yeah, he's got the mullet, rocking the mullet. Man, I don't know. He's got the best hair.
Brandon, go inside before you get divorced.
Brandon, thank you for coming on.
All right. Thank you, guys. I will talk to all you later.
Have a good night.
See you.
I'm going to bring up some banquet pictures. I'm going to find Joe Moriando's hair. We got to do that here.
That's a good Smoking Joe Moriando. Are we going to see him back this year in the 4-1?
I would assume. Steve Deckinger says, "Good show tonight, guys." I got to do a pre-approval here, Ron, in a few minutes, but I want to.
I thought you were multitasking. I thought you were like doing one right now.
No, I tried that once and I pre-approved somebody I shouldn't have.
You pre-approved them on the purchase of a brand new pro stock tractor.
Yeah, like you want a pro? I wish I could lend on pulling vehicles. I'd get all you suckers.
Woo!
That would be fun.
We'd collapse the financial industry for sure, wouldn't we?
Yep. You thought those Silicon Valley banks are bad? You wait till I get a hold of you guys. Boo-ha-ha-ha.
It cost how much? And how much did
that
turbo just cost? I blew up. What?
Just be like a line of credit for the farmers. Just pay me at the end of the year.
So big thanks to all the folks tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. Looks like we had some good numbers.
We did. We did. It was fun. We did.
So 10 minutes of tech is not a bad idea. I mean,
we talked about this.
We don't have to do it every week, but I mean, when Brandon's available or a tech official that, maybe that's I kind of like it.
I got a nice picture of Joe and Lori here. I think Cody took these at the banquet. Cody Vanderholm.
Can you show those pictures?
Yeah, I can. We're still live. I'm not gonna get fired.
I'm kidding.
I know you are.
Joe's rocking the mullet a little bit there. He's rocking the mullet. Yeah.
The photo booth was a hoot this year. There's one of the best stashes.
There's Doc Holliday there.
Yeah.
How many hits? There's Jerry. He's teaching right now. He's teaching. Yep. Yeah. So how many hits did that picture that you guys posted of Dusty?
It was stupid.
Crazy.
It was stupid.
It looked like he was in deep thought, and people were just going crazy commenting on that.
Do 10 minutes of tech the first show of the month. Yeah, it's not bad, Almery. I think every week would probably be too much, unless something, really was hopping.
I think Mark is volunteering his time. I think.
Yep.
As tech.
Dusty Hart, Joe Bush. Is Hart sponsoring a Super Farm Class again this year?
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's a done deal.
There is Mr. Scrappy, Mr. Dunclaw, Randy.
Yeah. I was going to say Doug Meisinger for the best hair just because of the hat, you know. But.
Yeah. Well, we're taking the marketing to a new level when my tractor's done. It might be a couple years, but I got some ideas. So.
There's Todd
Speaking
Bowles.
of Todd Bowles, we don't need to know more than that. That's what Ulmer said. Ooh, Ott's got some nice hair. That's Gage. Is that Gage?
That's Gage. Yeah.
That's some sweeping BG's 1980. Staying alive.
He's keeping the feather alive, the feathering technique alive there.
Let me bring up some BG's. Let's do a comparison here. BG's.
I used to feather my hair too, but
no, I did too. I used to roll my jeans.
That's been a few years ago. But you pegged your jeans, then what was called?
I rolled my jeans.
Yeah,
that was a big deal here. I'm gonna bring up this. This.
Gage is going to be one of our contestants for the best hair.
Yeah, we're bringing him up here. So I think here, I got to do this. I got to do my share screen. I got to get this set up properly. It's important. This co-host job is really kind of a big deal. I'm not gonna lie to you. So.
Keeping you busy there. Keeping you busy.
I think images. Let's see here. I'm not far off. Which one? The kind of guy in the middle you think there? What do you think, Ron?
Yeah.
I think that's so Gage Ott's one of our top hair contestants. You said Joe Morinaldo, right?
Somebody said Ken Summers sent that in there.
Barry of Red Rock Pulling Team.
Barry Haberhalls.
Barry Red Rock. I don't have any pictures of Barry. He might be. I don't know everybody. Yes, I'm going to the micro mini pull in Union Grove, Wisconsin this Saturday. It's a national championship, so I'll be getting some video of that. So that's going to be fun. And then Kenzie and Chandler are going to Waterloo for the garden tractor pulls. So
very nice. Very nice.
Barry of the Red Rock, Joe Morinaldo, Gage Ott. That's Gage, right?
That's Gage, yeah.
Let's see here. Who else? I flip through some pictures here. That'd be a good conversation. Ooh, who's that? That's Ulmer.
Hi, Ulmer.
That's got a little wave. I don't know if that's top though. It's got to jump. It's got to jump at us, Ron. It's got to jump at us. Hey, there's me. Chair, Ruth, Taylor. Taylor have sexy hair. Taylor kind of has some sex. Doesn't he have one of those caps like my singer?
I don't know.
Lord. Mark Olmert said Dave Bennett.
Well, who would know? He's always got a cowboy hat on. How would you know?
There's Ulmer again. Man, the banquet was fun. This guy, that's a Wisner promoter, I think, isn't it?
That's Doug Ortwick.
He's from Wisner, right?
Doug, oh, yeah.
You brought him over to the house, didn't you? Oh, there's Dave Bennett here.
No.
No, he didn't come, but the other people from Wisner came.
Yeah.
Novak, that bunch.
Yeah.
There's the board of directors meeting, right?
Yep.
This is all Saturday morning. This is Friday night again. There's Saturday. We should do Ron. We should have a show caption this photo, and we just put.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. What are they saying like right now?
Oh, like that's what's he showing, Lori? Oh shoot!
And look at Lori's face.
This is classic.
That one's asking for a caption right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that actually on the Facebook page. Well, it's already on the Facebook. It's in the album, but I'm gonna repost it. So, Ron, I need to do a pre-approval.
Yep. This is the longest show ever tonight, I think.
Oh, it's good though. Brandon's a great guest.
I think we went 2 hours one night, but
yeah.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. I mean,
yeah,
we kept a pretty good audience all night here. Everybody's stuck around with us. Kevin did what? Is Mark Omer?
Oh shoot! Yeah, I'm gonna post that on Facebook before I started my pre-approval. Ron, on behalf of Ron Stone, as the co-host of Outlawed with Ron Stone, we appreciate you joining us every Tuesday night. You can listen to this as well on iTunes and Spotify. For those of you in your audio, I know a lot of people listen to this at work, or they're jamming. They just throw the old earphones in and away they go. So
yeah,
don't procrastinate, initiate. That's your dad.
Words of wisdom from the pops there.
Good deal. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Thank you.
See you, Ronald.